Next up, we have Dr. Roger Falcone, who is a physics professor at the University of California, Berkeley. And he is a fellow of the American Physical Society and the Advancement, the AAS. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm one of two speakers here today representing the American Physical Society, which is an international scientific society representing over 50,000 scientists from all over the world. I'm really pleased to be here to join you in celebrating science. Now, the reason that I'm a scientist is because of great public high school teachers. So at that time, my math, my chemistry, biology, and physics high school teachers seemed to be the coolest teachers at my school. So today I want to first celebrate and thank all of the science teachers who are with us. Also, as you probably know, Arizona is the home to some great universities and laboratories for science. I study physics. Specifically, I study optics, a field in which Arizona has made enormous contributions, such as with telescopes for astronomy. So I first wanted to share a couple ideas about why I think we're focusing on science. So first, science is part of everyday life. From our earliest moments as babies, as children, we're naturally curious. We're reaching out, putting things in our mouth, dropping stuff to see what happens, using trial and error. We observe, we experiment, we use evidence-based reasoning to deal with the world around us. Former Congressman Rush Holt likes to call this reverence for evidence, which I think is a great phrase. So second, government support for science is absolutely critical. I can summarize this by saying we need two things. One is science for policy, and the other is we need policy for science. So what do I mean by that? I mean in a complex world, science is more often than not needed to optimize government policies. Whether it's sound environmental regulations, or optimizing social programs, or having an effective military, science is needed by government officials to make good policy, good decisions. So science for policy is needed. There also needs to be good policy for science to make the best investments in research that drive innovation, ultimately create jobs and prosperity, or just stimulate the imagination. These investments need to be made carefully because there's enormous competition for funds out of the government, and you know this. So support of science means really about taking our tax dollars and giving them to universities and laboratories. And this taking of our resources really depends on us all agreeing that this is a good model, and I support that. But I also see some disconnects. Some potential disconnects, reasons why some people might not be as enthusiastic as we are about science. And how can that happen? Well, much of science has grown larger than the human scale. It requires increasingly deeper knowledge, as well as large institutions, large machines to do so-called big science. In earlier times, people might do science experiments and chemicals in their kitchens or telescopes in their backyard. But today, science is often done at big universities, big labs. And the advances we read about in the newspaper, like Nobel Prizes, are often hard to understand. And by the way, scientists can occasionally be arrogant about what they think they know. So to address this, we scientists need to spend a lot more time reaching out and explaining what we're doing and why we're doing it. The second disconnect that I see is that people may see the objectivity or the formalism of science as kind of impersonal. At a time when many of us just want to focus on our personal and family and community relations and our interactions. But I would say that doing science is in fact an extremely satisfying family and community building activity, and we need to share that extremely fulfilling aspect of science by being better mentors. The third disconnect I see is that while technological progress has clearly empowered humanity everywhere, it has also increased our challenges. There's greater complexity, greater sophistication, and this leads to greater frustration. And so the trade-offs about living in a high-tech world, they need to be acknowledged and need to be dealt with. So my summary here with these disconnects is to say that these disconnects can leave people feeling stressed or suspicious, and maybe most unsettling, can leave a lot of people out of the picture, and they can abandon scientific thinking and their support of science. So a consequence of this is the emergence of maybe a philosophical wedge and between science and what can be seen as our more spiritual nature. So I'll end my remarks with saying that my belief is that science is inherently intertwined with our deepest and our spiritual values. Science continually affirms that humanity and the universe are awesome. And with hard work, coupled with occasional, call them revelations, another name for new ideas, that we can all move toward greater understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. So thank you. Have a great day.